John never had an easy life, and he never wanted one. He believed that hard work would pay off in the long run. But the future John left suddenly began to crumble before him. How would he do it all alone? Then an unexpected stranger made his day. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for Wonderbot, and here is Old Man Embarrassed in Checkout Line Until Cashier Does This. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. His hand shook as he carefully placed each item into the plastic bag. Potatoes, eggs, carrots, beef, peas, stock, onions, butter, milk. His list only contained the essentials. John struggled to keep up with the fast speed of the checkout girl. 11:25 when you're ready, she smiled. John left the eggs until last. Packing them first would cause them to break beneath the weight of the rest of the food. His wife had taught him that. A man sighed and cleared his throat from the back of the line. John went red. Sorry. Then the cashier looked down and saw his hands. John was born into the carpenter trade. His father had hands like shovels, big and strong. Before John started school, he helped build stairs in the new housing estates on the outskirts of Mississippi. He idolized his father. However, his loyalty was always with his mother. She would wake him up with a kiss to breakfast and have him ready and out the door to school or to his grandmother's before his father even got out of bed. Soon after beginning school, he witnessed something horrifying. John was 5 years old when he returned home from school to an open front door. He crept into the porch, whispering for his mother. Then he saw her lying on the floor, holding her mouth, and his father standing above her. Mom? She wiped her lip and began to rise. Go outside and play, I'll be out in a minute. He froze. Now, John! Her scream echoed throughout the house. What had he just seen? John began to notice his father's unsteady hands. And it wasn't long until he took his temper out on his son. The day he raised his hand to him was the first time he hit his son and the last time he saw him. After that, it was John and his mother. He never thought he would marry. Whenever he envisioned his future, his mother was always in it, but things change. When John was 20, his mother died of a heart attack. By then, his father had lost their home, his business, and his entire family. For 2 weeks, he stayed on friends' couches, desperate to earn some cash. He signed up with the summer carnival to work at the ring toss. He liked the carefree atmosphere and watching the families have fun. It was there that he met Anne. Anne was a teacher and a catch. Auburn hair, small pixie face, the type of laugh that would change the atmosphere of a room, and a singing voice that would stop any brawl. She helped him set up his own carpentry business, found him a room to rent, and got him back on his feet within the space of a few weeks. But nothing impressed John more than the goals she had for her life. Anne had big plans, and none of them involved John. She had always dreamed of moving to France, but no matter how many times she convinced herself to leave, John would always pull her back in. She'd broken up with him 4 times in the first year. Maybe it was his overwhelming kindness or genuine concern, but she could never seem to shake him. On her 5th attempt, he asked her to marry him. She had one condition, and it was ludicrous. Anne was too smart for her own good. She agreed to marry John, but only if he could beat her in a game of chess. There was one problem. He hated chess. For weeks, he would pick her up from school and walk her straight to the park. The regulars would gather around to commemorate their daily battle. He lost every time. Then, on a cold December evening, 4 months after he popped the question, he uttered the words for the first time. Checkmate. But that wasn't the end of his struggles. John was told time and time again that marriage would be the hardest job of his life. But they didn't know Anne. Every day began and ended the same way. Happy. They even managed to convince a loan officer to give them the down payment on a small cottage just outside of town. Everything seemed perfect until Anne went for a checkup. Anne was 35 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. After 10 wonderful years of marriage, Anne slipped away in her sleep. John was heartbroken but took solace in the thought of seeing her someday. He never remarried, never had any children, never joined the dating scene. He believed the brief time they had together was enough to last him the rest of his life. And he was right. But as time went on, things got harder. John still met friends at the park for a game of chess. His Yorkie kept him company every night. Anne had left him recipes for his favorite shepherd's pie before she left and continued to make it every Sunday since. But he needed the right ingredients. He went to his local Walmart. He could do this shop blindfolded and make his way to the cashier if he had to. But he never saw this coming. John was getting anxious in his old age. He reached into his left pocket and retrieved a fistful of coins. With his right hand, he began to pick them up from his palm. Feet shuffled in the queue. Whispers increased. It was rush hour and the queue was building. John was starting to get embarrassed. He pinched the coins as fast as he could. Then one fell on the countertop. He slapped his hand down to stop it. "Sorry," his voice shook. The cashier reached forward and grabbed his hand. "This is not a problem, honey. We do this together." The lady took the coins from his hand and spilled them onto the counter. Emma, her name tag read. She stood awkwardly, looking over his shoulder to the scolding queue as she slid the coins from the desk onto her hand. "That's it." Emma smiled up at him and patted his hand. Spring Herbison Bolin couldn't believe her eyes. Spring was doing her weekly shop when she witnessed this kind-hearted gesture. Touched, she shared the touching experience on Facebook. The tale had gone viral, and Emma, the cashier woman, has been praised. I looked at this wonderful woman and said, "Thank you for being so patient with him." But it was Emma's response that shook Spring to the core. She shook her head and replied, "You shouldn't have to thank me, baby. What's wrong with our world is we've forgotten how to love one another." "I want to be more like her," Spring shared. John left the store with a smile and a much lighter pocket. Let's hope that Emma gets a raise, because there's no doubt that John will be back for many more Sundays to come.